Okay. It's a little later than I initially thought I would get started, but that's okay. We're still getting started. It's still going to happen. I'm having, I come into Jesus with my sewing machine that my mother gave me. The two sewing machines that I have now are gifted from my grandmother, and they are kind of archaic, I'm not going to lie. And so I have got to wind my bobbin and get everything going, and so I can have white thread and white bobbin, because for some reason my mother had a green thread on the bobbin. Don't ask me why she had green thread on the bobbin. I don't know what she was sewing that was green, but she had green thread on the bobbin. Proof is green thread. I don't know what she was sewing. So I've got to wind my bobbin and get me some white thread on here. And I've got a piece of muslin that I'm going to try. to work with to see if I can make it what it needs to be. Oh, thank you, Sam. I am rocking a 24-hour bun at the moment. So, not too ecstatic about the way this bobbin wound, but that's okay. We'll use some pressure and move it down. There we go. Okay. Yes, it has scissors on it, but I bite everything with my teeth. I'm sorry. Y'all are just going to have to get really used to me. Not too thrilled with how that bobbin wound, but this machine has not been used in a while, so we're probably going to have some hiccups. Just going to let you know. It's probably going to let me know that it's mad that it has sat here for a while. Hi, Denise. So it's probably not going to be the happiest of machines, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Let's see if we can get the stupid thing threaded now. This is everybody's worst nightmare, is threading this stupid machine. And it has an automatic threader for the needle, but guess who's too blind to use it? I am so blind that I cannot use the automatic threader, and my mother makes fun of me. But of course, I used to make fun of her, so I guess you know what comes around goes around. So, hey, yeah. So this is what I'm working with right now. I think it's an old Kenmore. It's not super old. The other one I have is like a dinosaur that comes with the whole package. Oh, come on. Don't tell me I'm too blind to do this. Okay, well, let's just try. It's got a the sad thing is that it has a threader on the thing, and I just am too blind to know how to use it. Did I do it? Did I do it? Did I do it? Did I do it? I think I used it. I think I did it. Oh, no, I didn't either. See, this is what happens when you have threaders on your machines. And you're like, does it work or does it not work? I don't think they work half the time. So what I'm going to do is just put it in a little loop-de-loop down here. Did it work? Did it work? Ha! Did it work? No. I honestly don't know why that they sell self-threading sewing machines, because I don't think they work. Even when my mother was showing me how to use it, it took her like 50 tries. And I'm like, what is the point to that? Like, seriously, what's the point to that? So let's just see if we can get that stupid little needle threaded on our own. Everybody pray to Jesus right now and need his help. Because after this, I have to watch all the taxidermy that David brought home. I'm not really looking forward to that. It does not help that my mother has the smallest of needles in this stupid thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I may have to take this needle out and put a bigger needle in. I really feel bad now for all the times that I made fun of my mother when she asked me to come and she would ask me to come and thread her needle. And I would be like, why, Mom? Why can't you see your needle? And now I feel really bad because now I'm like, I get it, Mom. I'm blind too. Come on, you big booger. Hint to everyone out there, don't buy fancy machines, because if they say they self-thread, they're lying to you. It's like Jenny Craig. They're lying to you. Let me just when I tell you I haven't sewed on this machine because it was just given to me after my brother broke my brother machine. Oh my God, my brother machine was my absolute, it was my go-to. I love that thing. I knew everything about that machine, and I could use that machine and do anything. And then she gifted me Granny's machines in her serger, which are great because I want to think about my granny and I want to use the things that my granny used. But holy crap, how did Granny thread this machine? Okay, well, we can figure this out in just a second. I'll let my eyes rest for a minute because the rest of what I have to do is actually the most important thing that we have to do this evening. At least I got that ugly green thread off of there right now. What I have to do is I have to take this little thing. I've named her Dolores. I don't know why. I'm not right in the head. Oh, it's got one of those self-threaders. I'll just have to work with it for a minute and get it to self-thread. It's got one of those little things you push down and it self-threads. I just hate it. This machine hates me, and it's been like one of those, it's like an ongoing saga. But I don't even have my pattern cut out yet. So one of the things that I'm going to have to do first is cut the pattern anyway. But this is Dolores. Dolores is going to be my very first bag. And so what I'm going to do with Dolores is I'm going to work with her because she's a possum. She's less valuable than her raccoon hide, but she's still precious to me. But I'm going to use her first to make her the sacrificial lamb, so to speak, to see if I can do this and do this right. So this is Dolores, and Dolores is going to be our first bag. So let me tip this down to the table where y'all get to see my lovely stomach and my workspace and my box fan that's keeping me cool. Don't you just love the view? I know yous do. So Dolores she's very pretty. She is what I call a saber-tooth speed bump. And she is an opossum. And she's got these beautiful black ears. I want her head to be the flap over the bag. So I want a very simple messenger bag, but I thought, how cute would this be if Dolores could be round? And then the flap could come over. And then we could have like a leather inside so that the side that rubs the lady's leg would be just brown leather instead of fur. And that way she wouldn't end up with rubbing the fur off of Dolores's belly. And Dolores has a couple of holes here where she had some thin hide. So there's some spots that are not going to be super usable for Dolores. So I thought, well, that's actually a really neat idea. So I thought, well, let's do that then. So one of the first things I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut Dolores up the middle. We're going to give Dolores a tummy tuck. Dolores, don't feel bad, honey. I need one too. We all do. It's okay. Don't feel bad about yourself. We all need one. It's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go up and I'm just going to look at the bottom of her chin and try to get this split going. And right there's one of those holes. And that is actually where her pouch is. She's one of those marsupials. And I'm going to stop right there kind of at her throat latch, because I want that all to lean over and to be the top of the purse. So this is what I want to be the edge. So I'm going to cut through her arm so it opens up this way. And then I'm going to cut this way through this arm so it opens up this way. Y'all, I should have been a doctor. Look at that precision. Actually, was in vet school for a while. Okay, so now we got much more surface area for Dolores. So if we were to do a bag, it could be a fairly large bag because we've got a fairly large circumference here. Now, obviously, Dolores is going to need a liner because I know people like leather bags, but people don't want to stick their hand in and deal with the inside, even though I think it feels nice. A lot of people don't want to stick their hand in and deal with all of that. So to practice, the first thing I'm going to do is use this piece of muslin. Just because it's cheap, it's forgiving, and honestly, if it works, it will also add a little bit of stability, and it will not cause Dolores to lose any of her use. Like if I need to take it back off, I can take it back off, and it won't be an issue. If I were to have to take leather back off, then me and Dolores would be, that would be potentially a $30 hiccup that I don't want to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this because this actually tears really easy. And so I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to then, I'm going to make sure I've not got Dolores under there. I'm going to mark it and follow her all the way up. And when I get it marked, I will flip her in just a minute. Okay. I need a bigger table. I have a bigger table in my actual craft room, which looks like a bomb went off right now because of everything that is baby related in there, and it just looks like a bomb went off in there. It is not a very clean room right now. We'll just say that. So what I'm trying to do is just get the general shape of Dolores cut out. Because once I sew her, what I'll do is I'll sew her good side to good side, and then I'll flip her and cut off the excess. And if you're cringing because I'm not using a super pins or pattern or anything like that, you need to call my mother and start a support group because I don't ever do that. And she hates it too, and I drive her nuts. And I think really she probably needs to be on an antidepressant because I really do irritate her that much with this. I never use patterns. I'm always abstract. It's just how I roll. Oh, back to Dolores. If I were to use a pattern, I think everybody that knows me would probably faint. I just can't use patterns. Now, if I'm making Haley a dress or something, I will try. But I inevitably end up getting creative and doing my own thing anyway. And it drives people bug nutty. I know. I don't care. Now I'm just going to go in some of these spots where she is of a different shape. I'm going to cut that off. And what I'm going to start to do now is look at Dolores and say, what shape do you want to be? Do I want to make a triangle purse? Do I want to make a circle purse? And I honestly think that Dolores is actually telling me right now she wants to be a triangle purse, which would be adorable. I'm not going to put a faux bottom in it because of the way I want to put fringe on the bottom. So I think what we might do is just make Dolores kind of a rounded bottom. I'm fixing to have possum hair all over. I'm going to have to vacuum. So I think we're going to do this and make Dolores into a very specific shape. Everybody cringing, don't worry. I swear I know what I'm doing. I just have a process that is not like most people's processes. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be like everybody else's process. Now, when it comes to the sides, I don't necessarily like this thinner hair right here, but I know that I need a seam allowance, so I'm only going to take about half of it off because I know I'm going to need some of it for a seam allowance. So I'm going to start about right here. There's a little hole right here. So I'm going to start like right here and go up. Now these long strips of hair coming off of Dolores I can probably use on something else, so don't freak out. Dolores will not go to waste. And then I'm going to let it widen back up at the top. And let it widen back up at the top because this is going to be the flap that goes over the opening. And so right here it's kind of showing me its own little natural place where it wants to be cut. So I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to widen it back up like that. These don't have to be perfect. Y'all know that perfect is something I tell you all does not exist. Do not strive for it. It doesn't exist. You will drive yourself crazy trying to strive for it. And then I'm just going to trim a little bit around her face and her head. I want to leave just a little bit extra around her muzzle so that if I need to stretch or do anything, I can later. But I'm leaving her throat latch together. I'm not going to cut up her throat latch because I want that heaviness to fold over on the top of the bag. Okay, so this is Dolores, and this is going to be her lining. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the muslin or even a piece of leather. I guess if I'm brave, I could probably go ahead and go with a piece of leather. I do not know if this one's wide enough. It might be. It might not be. It might be. Because it only has to be long enough to fit for the head to pop over. Oh, yeah, we can work with that. Well, I want you to look at that. That turned out perfect. Ain't never in my life. That was just meant to be. That was absolutely meant to be. So we're going to use this as the back. And it will not really need to be a lining. I just wanted Dolores lines that when people run their hand in the pocketbook, they're not running their hand in on possum hide. Because as much as I know they want a possum hide bag, I know that they also probably do not want a possum hide thing. Now I'm going to have to leave enough of this to give it a cuff so that when she flips the other way, she flips over. So I think that'll be enough. So now what I'm going to do is flip this over. Am I making anybody nervous yet? Is my artistic process driving us crazy? Like legit, my mother would have already had like a stroke. Not lying. My mother would have already had a stroke. Okay, let's let Dolores out of here for a minute. Let's use this. Now we know that we want that much of her to flip over. And I am just amazed at how well this is working out, y'all. This is just crazy. Oh, I would have to have got the hardest leather to cut. Where's my other scissors? I need some of those really good scissors that lays flat on the table. Because my hands, bless their hearts, do not. They just do not have the gumption God gave a goose someday. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to keep that still. Roll this over. And don't worry, the rest of this leather will be used for something. Y'all know I waste nothing. It'll show up on something, I'm sure. Even if it's Christmas before it does. I actually think I used quite a bit of this on the gnomes I made during Christmas, and had it folded and put away in a box, and was like, "Oh, you will do wonderfully." Okay, so this is going to be the back. So this is going to be Dolores. And she will be lined up to here. So let me move this so you can see what I'm doing. So this is Dolores. She's going to be lined up to here. And I will shape this up a little bit, and she will be cleaner. But she will be lined up to here. So it'll look kind of like this. And this will be the inside of the bag. So she will be the outside. This will be the inside. And then this will be the other side of the bag. And of course, I'll have to put straps on to carry it. So this will probably be bent down to here. And then her head will come over and be the top flap so that nobody can get in the pocketbook. And she will have straps. And I will shape her up and make her a pretty thing. I may add some fringe. I don't know. It just depends. But I just wanted to make a simple bag. So she will have to be shaped up, and when I sew, I'll straighten up my seams and stuff. But she will be a possum bag. So from the back, she will look like a complete possum hide. And when the woman carries her, this will be what rubs against the woman's leg. So she won't constantly have possum fur rubbing against her leg. And then Dolores's face will actually have a fixture to where she will button and keep the purse closed. And probably I can even move her down some and make it a shorter bag so that she goes over farther. So, and I think that will be cute. I think if I do leave it flared, or if I bring it down, I think if I do fringe, that would be really cute. And I do have enough left over to sew in fringe if I want to. So that may be something I want to do. So that is kind of where I am on Dolores. The straps will be, let me do this so I can talk to you. The straps will be put in, they will be laced in with leather. They will be leather straps. Everything will be leather. And if I do fringe, of course, you have to put it all together and sew it all at once. So if I do fringe, I will have to make that decision and do it before I sew her. Now let's just look at this piece. Let's just look at this piece of leather and see if it fringes. I don't know if it will fringe good. We'll use this odd piece right here. Some leathers stretch really well and some do not. So you always have to leave room to sew, but then you have to stretch the fur out of the piece that you just cut. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it might hang okay, but I don't think it would be the prettiest. I don't think it would be the prettiest fringe that I would like to carry, so I don't think someone else would like to carry it. So what I may do is run to the Wally World tomorrow and see if they have any of those ribbons with like the beads that hang down, and they're just like yards of ribbons with the beads that hang down, and I could do some beads hanging down and sew those in. So I'll have to turn her inside out and sew her backwards. That'll be the big thing for Dolores. She'll have to be put together in reverse and turned inside outy. I'm wanting to also put a pocket on the inside. So on her inside lining, I'm also wanting to put a pocket, and I think I'm going to make it a leather pocket, and that will have to be done before she gets all the way put together as well. And wouldn't it be cute if it were like a large enough pocket to put like your wallet or your sunglasses in so they don't get lost in your pocketbook? I lose my sunglasses in my pocketbook all the time. So let's look at this. I think I can cut right through here. I'm going to curve because Dolores is curved. And I'll have to take out a straight edge and make sure that I get it straight. But if we could have a big enough pocket on the inside that I can line from the top, and that way a woman could put her wallet or her sunglasses, and you would not be constantly trying to find these things like I am, because I am the world's worst, and everything I put in my pocketbook goes straight to the bottom. It's like straight to the abyss, and I never find it ever again. And then I'll have 15,000 pairs of sunglasses, and David would be like, "Why are you buying sunglasses? You just had, 5 the other day in the Jeep." And I'm like, "I can't find any of them." And I don't know if maybe I'm just a strange person, but that's what happens in my world. I cannot keep up with sunglasses to save my life. And I have to use them quite a bit because my eyes are very sensitive. That's part of the RSD issue that I have. My eyes are very sensitive. So, so we could have an inside pocket, and I could pucker it. I could roll it and sew it and put a nice little edge on it, and then it would be a nice little place to store either a checkbook or a pair of sunglasses or a wallet or anything that you need to grab quickly. I don't know, for some women, I guess mace. I've never had to carry mace. Men just look at me and run the other way. So I've never had to carry mace. I guess I'm lucky. I don't know. So this is what will be my tomorrow sewing project. But I had to get her cut out tonight because I have to now think about this all night long and think about the extra stuff that I want to do. Like originally I just wanted to put like a saddle handle on her, like a briefcase saddle handle on her, like a backpack top. And I was like, no, I'm going to put a full strap on her. And I have enough to make a full strap out of the leftover of this tan if I really wanted to. But I have a really, really pretty dark brown that I could also use and add a couple of, like, even after I get this done and get her sewed, and this is the inside, I could even add another pocket of the dark brown to go with the strap. That will cover her. So this will end up being about like that, and then Dolores's head will be the flap. So it will end up looking something like that when she gets sewed. Of course, much neater and everything, but she will be the cover of the pocketbook, and the woman will have to open up to get in. So I'm anxious to get her done, and I'm going to have to sew a button and a loop to this to make it work. So it's going to be quite the sewing project tomorrow for me. It's going to be a humdinger. Oh yeah, my daughter, music. I guarantee you, when you say you wish that guys would leave females alone so they didn't have to carry protection. Oh, my daughter is like 100. Well, y'all see my daughter. She's like 115, 20 pounds soaking wet. Beautiful blonde, lovely little girl. Of course, I raised my children differently than most because, let me get this straight, because I was a parole officer. So my kids knew very well about the dangers in the world. And so I would train them, and I would taught them how to profile a crowd. I know that sounds horrible, but I did. And I was very worried when my daughter went to UT in Knoxville, because I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been that far away from her. I can't protect her. But she was very well versed in how to spot a crowd, and all of her friends called her the mom of the group, because if they went anywhere, she found her 3 exits, how to get out. And she made sure to take a consensus of everyone like in a close proximity to them, and anyone that looked odd or strange, she would find a way to move them elsewhere. And she was always certain to be like by an exit and know where 2 others were. And so we're like, you're such a mom. And she was like, well, listen, my mom taught me how to do this. My mom handles stuff that you don't want to see. And I grew up having to be around it because my mom had to train us, because I had people that I paroled out of prison that I sent back to prison that got back out, and if they wanted to have come after me and my kids, they could have. And so I had to train my kids to be aware. But she was the smallest little thing, and I was so terrified to send her to college. But all of her friends were like, she's the mom of the group, and she lets us know exactly what the problem is. Oh, you're not paranoid, you're smart. You're smart. Everybody, even men, when you go into a group scenario, you should always try to place yourself by an exit, look for 2 others so that you have 3 avenues out, and then you should always be scanning the crowd for anyone whose behavior stands out or is abnormal. And that's just good, solid being aware. It's not being paranoid at all. Oh, Denise says that's why she has her Neapolitan Mastiffs. She had a knock on her door last night. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'd say nobody bothers you with those big dogs at all. I used to have a red heeler named Scout, and he was the sweetest dog, but if anybody got around me, he would look at them like, do I need to get you now or later? And he would kind of tilt his head sideways and look at them like, and he looked very much like a dingo. So he looked more like a dingo than most blue heelers do look like dingoes. And he would tilt his head and look at them like, I'm just waiting for her to tell me to hurt you. And so, but now when we had the hunting lodge, we raised pits for our catch dogs, because when we had the hunting lodge, all the hogs that lasted through every year had to be caught. We had to hand catch them, and we had to inoculate them with whatever the USDA said they had to be inoculated with that year. So if you had a hog that lived for 3 or 4 years, every year you had to catch that hog, 300, 400, 500 pounders, and give them shots and do the paperwork for the USDA. It was very difficult. And so you had to have really great dogs that you could trust. And so we raised our pits from puppies. We raised them with the kids. During the winter, they would pull the sleds, and the kids would ride on the sleds in the snow with the pits. And my brother had a big male named Fangan, and his head was just huge. He was the biggest baby ever. And I had a female named Schnaden, and I would be working in my yard, and she was never loose. She's always with me. She was like, we have a fenced yard, and we're all fenced. Our barn lot and all our acreage is fenced. But she was taught to stay right on me. And if I backed up, she would back up, and she would, if somebody came at me, she would get, like the protector dog, she would get between your legs and do a little dance with you to be ready to attack. She was very well trained. And it was so funny though, because when she was little, I was trying to teach her how to sit, and I was like, Schnaden, sit, Schnaden, sit. Well, after saying that 50,000 times, can you imagine what I said? Schnaden. And Elaine went, Mama. So I probably should have thought her name through a little bit better. But they were great dogs. I recommend if you do have a dog like that you raise it from a puppy and you raise it with kids if you're going to have kids around them. But they were great dogs, and they were probably some of the better family dogs that I've ever had. I had a party poodle once, and bless his heart, he was the dumbest thing I ever owned. I mean, it's like there was nobody home. He wasn't mean. He was just dumb. And but I've had lots of dogs, lots of hound dogs, because we hunt around here, so lots of hound dogs, and I've had some amazing animals. Goodness gracious, close to 6 foot tall and they stand on their hind legs. Denise, I'd say everybody does leave you alone. Yeah, that's how Sinead was. She didn't want anybody around me. And it's funny because we had one group of neighbors before we bought the land next to us that were not good people. And we pulled in one day after we'd been hunting, and Matthew had to drop me off. And so we had literally a trailer full of hogs because we had done a massive hog hunt that morning with like 10 hunters that had come in from like New Jersey. And we were getting the hogs back to be processed, and he was dropping me off so I could eat lunch, change clothes, get in my vehicle, and then go out and process the meat and cape them out and start working on all of that ordeal. And so they were not being the nicest of people, and they were like making fun of like the Hicks with the trailer load of hogs, And so I got out with Schnaden, and she stopped and she looked at them like, why are you, why are you projecting toward my owner? Well, then my brother, who was 400 pounds of rather kill you to look at you, got out, and they didn't know that he had his big pit with him. He was huge, and he was sitting there and he was cutting with a knife. He's cutting an apple and eating it with a knife. And they kept laughing, making fun of the rednecks. And he went, Fangan Hill. And Fangan jumped out of that truck window and came to my brother's side and was just like, yes. And Betty, they went in their house. And I think they moved like 2 months later, and we put a bid in and we bought that property, demolished the trailer that they lived in. Well, we stripped it and like threw everything out. And then we found a couple that had, the wife had cancer, and they still had their land, but they had lost their double wide. And the husband worked with a trailer moving company, and they came to look at it, and they thought they were going to buy it. And they were like, oh yeah, we could turn this into a home. Yeah, we'll buy it. How much do you want? And we just signed the title over to them and said, take it. Y'all need it. Take it. And I thought that woman was going to cry a river immediately. But it was just the right thing to do. We didn't need it. It just needed to go somewhere. So they hauled that off. It took us 3 years to clear that property. We ended up having to dig a hole and bury a bunch of stuff, even after we cleaned and cleaned and cleaned. And then we had to bring in topsoil and put layer and layer of topsoil so that it would be safe, even after we dug a hole and buried everything, so that it would be safe for us to eventually run livestock. And we've had minis and horses and goats and stuff over there, but the things that we had to clean up, and thank God I was in the field that I knew to wear protective gear and to know what to look for, because it was bad. They were not good people. And so now the little corner of this road, we own the whole little corner of the road except for the little lot at the very end. And if we could ever get that little lot, we would have a whole horseshoe around us with a stream all the way behind us. And it would be like the perfect setup for defense. I know people don't think about that. I do. Oh, she looks like Fang. I love Fang in the Harry Potter movies. I love Fang. Even though Fang's kind of a coward, he's still just precious. The expressions on his face, they crack me up. I love Fang. So, but my big pit bull was white, and she had black speckles, and Fangan was solid white except for one big black spot on his face. And he was trained in German, and I never gosh, that's been years ago. I learned just the bare minimum. But what he was trying to do was to go in and hang on to the hog, hang on to the head. Now, he wore those, $500 cut vests because we loved our animals and they were expensive and they were well trained. And they would have to hang on to the hog's head while we got the back end flipped, got it down, and got it pinned so that we could then give the injections, the inoculations, and then back off. And then we would tell them to let them go. And the hog would run off. And, it was stressful, but we tried to keep it as quickly, as quick as possible for everyone because it was a stressful event for everybody. But we had to give those inoculations every year, pending whatever the USDA said needed to be given. And let me tell you, when you have a hog that's lived on your hunting lodge for 3, 4, 5 years, and he's surly and he's smart and he's learned how to outsmart everybody and to terrify the dogs, and he gets up to be, 4 or 5, close to 600 pounds. We had one that was 608 that we had to catch. Let me tell you, it takes a special kind of person to jump on a 600-pound wild Russian boar. And everybody always asked me why I was not afraid of the people I supervise. And I was like, listen, once you've had a 600-pound wild Russian boar run at you, there's not really a lot that scares you after that. There's not a lot that scares you after that. But I hated inoculation season at the hunting lodge. And the thing is where all the hunting lodges in the area, we would all help each other. They would often ask for everybody, to rally and help everybody get all the inoculations done in a 30-day period. So we would then go and help all the other lodges. And I hated that time of year. Hated it. And it was funny because I would go to certain lodges and help out, and there would be like people taking video of me to show their wife that women could actually do this line of work. And so I was like the anomaly that, that stood out. And I was like, really? I was like, this is just, when you grow up in the sticks, this is just what you do. This is just what you do. So, I do have my dragonfly wings done. Let me get them and show them to you. So I did the smaller ones like this, or the larger ones like this with white in the middle. And then I did the small ones just with the maroon. And I decided that I liked the smaller of the cow vertebrae rather than the large one. And I can use this right here to create a hanger for people that want to hang it on their, like outdoors somewhere on a tree or something. But I've got to paint this to look like a dragonfly. Y'all, I've been studying, I've been looking. There's so many different ways that people paint dragonflies that it's boggling my mind because I'm like, I know I need to do this and I know it needs to look good. But, I mean, it's just like, it's difficult because there's so many different ways that people do it. And I want to make sure it looks good. But I want it to, I want people to make sure that they can tell it's mine, that I made it. So that's the problem I'm having right now. And I can get these in, and get them glued without a problem. And then the little ones just glue on top. But it's the painting that is getting me. So dragonflies normally do have that hump in their body anyway, on their, I guess their neck, behind their torso. So that's not the big problem. The big problem for me is, what color should he be? And should I give him googly eyes or should I not? And I'm going to give him antennas, little twigs for antennas. And I might even wire him little curly Q antennas. I'm not quite sure. But, I can get all of this done. And get these glued in, and he'll have to be in a bigger box to ship. And the people who get these will have to really take care of them, and do some maintenance. And like once a year, probably add some glue and double check the holds. But these are going to be really pretty. I just am stuck on the painting of this guy. I'm just stuck on the painting. And I get like that sometimes. I get stuck on the painting. I did finish Oh, you can't see me. I did finish this big baby. And the double weave is something that is just kind of mesmerizing me at the moment. I did put also beads in the coon skull, and I put sphagnum moss on it. And just because that represents the wisdom of the old man and the old man in the woods, because it's old man's beard. So I got the triple frame and I got it leather bound, and I've actually finished all my duck feathers on this. So I've had to already order more duck feathers from my fowl farm guy. So I gave her extra feathers. She's got tons of gems. I mean, tons of gems. And I put her Spidey right there that noms the bad stuff and helps lure it in. And then here's her protector, the raccoon, and he has jewels in his eye sockets. But I did put sphagnum moss on it, and it's like one of the weirdest ones I've ever done, because it was like, more protection. I need more protection. And so to make up for that, I kind of made her this really little pretty one that was just like dainty and cute, and she could display this somewhere and be like, oh, this is a dainty pretty one. And it's still got the gemstones and stuff in it as well with the different weave. I really like this weave, but y'all, if you want a big one done like this, let me check. The price will be up because this takes so much twine. Ordered me some twine yesterday too, and I got copper and light blue and dark blue, I think. So let me tell you what, I am going to be I'm going to be branching out into the blues. And I never thought I would do that, but I'm going to do that. So those will both go to her for her to do it with what she wants. But I've emailed her quite a bit. Like, we've had quite a bit of correspondence. So now I have just got to get it to her. And I think I've already got a box that it will fit. I have been hoarding boxes. Ever since the last box fiasco, I've been hoarding boxes. So I think I've got a box that it will fit. So I feel pretty confident that that she will understand the meaning of the one that is there for the mojo. And hey, thank you. That's what I thought. See, now I've figured out who you are. That's what I thought. I got the copper, the dark blue, and then the light blue. And it's a dark blue and then almost like a turquoise, but a lighter turquoise. And then, of course, I've got my beige and stuff like that. But I'm going to get to where I do multiple colors when I weave, just because I'm branching out and getting to where I like the multiple colors. So I think it adds a depth and it adds a meaning to it. So I'm kind of really, that's like my new kick right now, is to make sure that I'm moving forward with stuff. Now, I am terrified about sewing these bags. David is, he's always like, just try it, just do it, it'll be okay. But I just want to make him look pretty. Oh. See, now I know exactly who you are now. Snooky, snooky, snooky. But I'm getting caught up on stuff. The next few hours is going to be spent with alcohol pads, Q-tips, and water, and cleaning the eyes and the mouth cavities and the nose and of the bobcat rug, the bobcat mounts. Oh my gosh. David brought in a bobcat mount that had damage to it. I immediately saw it and I said, you can't sell it. Hang on. Y'all are going to love this. Hi, Booty. So people are all the time calling us when they have taxidermy they don't want. He actually affixes to the wall. He just needs a new hanger. Look at this little cute guy. he hangs off of a limb. David just brought him home today. And he hangs up on the wall, and he just kind of hangs on the limb. He's got damage to a back leg, which I can repair. Which one is it? It's right here, something right there. You can see the mannequin underneath, but I can repair that. Look at that face. He's just got one of those little faces. It's like, I could come down the tree and you could pet me if you really wanted me to. I think he's adorable. David brought him home, and I was like, you may not sell him. You may take one of our other ones and sell them, but you may not sell him because I adore him. And he is going to live up on the top of the wall in the living room. But I've got to do a lot of cleaning on him and get his little face cleaned up. But is he not precious? Is he not precious? I don't know what I'm going to name him yet, but it's going to be so cute. He's so cute. I think he looks like an angel. Isn't he precious? I name everything, y'all. This is just how it goes in my house. But I was so tickled with this because he's just a tiny little bobcat. But it's just such a beautiful mount. And he has such beautiful fur. And it's just that little facial expression. I just couldn't. I was like, no, I got to keep him. I have to adopt him. I'm sorry, Oscar. So tomorrow they set up their tents and they anchor their tents, and then I will be tagging. I've already got tags cut with strings. I will be tagging everything to make sure that the price tags can be put on. And somebody asked me the other day what I had on my arm. I have an evil on my arm. But this right here is what my doctor recommended, and I have two of them. This one says reflex sympathetic dystrophy, and my other one says penicillin. And because of the issues that I had last month, he recommended I get these, and he's like, you wear this one all the time. In case something happens and you go down in public, they will be able to read this and go, okay. So if I go out, I normally put them both on, but I keep this one on all the time, just in case something happens. People can read it and they know. So it's got the little medical insignia in it, and it tells people what I have wrong with me. And then everybody's asking what I have. I just have a wrapped turquoise ring and just silver wrapped wire rings on my fingers. I do not wear a ton of jewelry. The jewelry I do wear is normally artisan made and cheap, but it's made by people, and I really enjoy it, and I like to wear stuff with gemstones. And I actually ordered, what was it? I think I ordered I can't remember what I ordered. I think it was blue. Well, doggone it, now I can't remember. Anyway, I'll tell you, and I'll put it in a community post when it arrives. I'll put a picture up. It's the same lady that made this one. This one has lasted through everything. But it is a different stone just to, like, for balance and clarity and stuff like that. So I like to wear strange things. And I have a sea glass ring that David bought me for Christmas, and I wear it quite a bit too, but it is quite the statement piece. And so I only wear it like for special occasions and stuff. But y'all have been asking me a lot about what's been on my hands lately. This is my wedding set that I hardly ever wear because I have a tendency to kill them. I have a tendency to break them and to destroy them. I've gone through like 3 in our marriage. And now, granted, the first couple were cheap, they were cheap. But then he bought these, and so I'm very careful with these because these were actually a nicer set, so I try to be careful with these. But most of them have been swollen. I can't wear a lot of jewelry. So these right here actually can stretch out. If you see this one, it can stretch out and open up. And these have space, and this one actually can stretch out as well. So I got these from a really great shop on Etsy, and I'll go back and try to find the name of the shop and put it in a community post, because literally everything this woman makes is beautiful. For years and years and years, Denise, I didn't wear one, because when I had to drug screen offenders, I had to put on gloves and take them off when I drug screen people. So I could wear a simple band, but I couldn't wear any jewelry. And so I got really used to not wearing jewelry. And now that I'm away from that, I like to wear jewelry again, but I stay so swollen I can't wear a lot of it. So right now I'm not swollen. I'm trying to enjoy my rings. These, I've learned to buy the ones that you can stretch, and the wire ones that she wraps are very forgiving if you do get puffy. And so I've learned that I can wear these, and these are only like $8 to $12. They're, and the gemstones are real, so I don't mind to buy them. And and they're silver. They're on silver wire, so it's great. But for the longest time, I had to drug screen people, so I had to put those gloves on and take them off, and I couldn't wear anything that would spike through and tear the glove. So I didn't get to wear anything but a band for a long, long, long time. And then when I got to where I could, my hands started swelling. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much, that's how I was. We had a lot of rules about what we could wear, and it was just for our safety because of the things you handled, and I understood that. But then when I finally got away from the job and I could do it, I could wear my rings again, then I started swelling out of control and I couldn't wear my rings. And it was like, daggum it, I just wanted to wear my rings. That's all I wanted to do. Update on the anyone that heard me talking about the event where people funneled in all that horrible stuff to our community, and I was really upset with people in our community that were saying, oh, you're overreacting, oh, they only caught like weed and shrooms, you're overreacting, you just don't want people to have fun, we need the money that this brings in, they're not going to hurt anyone here. Well, they actually released the list of everything. They had like 850 individual little bottles of nitrous oxide. And I hate to tell you, but nitrous oxide and all the other stuff that you have when you huff and you kill a brain cell, it's dead. It never comes back. It never regenerates. You just made yourself more stupid. They had 5 grams of fentanyl, and it's all over the money. So they've got it safely packaged, but they don't know what they're going to do with it. They think they're going to have to send it to the TBI to be incinerated in their machine that has 7 chambers, kind of like a crematorium, so that it burns it over and over and over until it releases through the 7 chambers of the clear air. They can't touch it, and it's lethal. They've had to wear hazmat suits to deal with it, to get it put in bags and sealed. It's been horrible. They had 8 grams of ketamine, PCP, cocaine, LSD. The list went on and on and on. And people have been really nasty to me. And I've been like, y'all, you need to be aware that they did not come in with just their recreational drugs. They came in to create a new consumer base. Because I'm sorry, but the few cars that were stopped, and what they found is just a drop in the bucket as to what got in. Well, then they released that list, and people were like, oh crap, Elizabeth knew what she was talking about. Imagine that. I worked in corrections for a decade, and I knew what I was talking about. People irritate me sometimes. And then I said, these people got obliterated out of their mind. I said, there was stuff going on there. I said that when y'all see the charges, it's going to be bad. I said, I have people that live close down there and were telling me of what they were hearing off their front porches and seeing in their backyards. And I said, it's going to be bad. There were 3 people that got multiple sexual assaults. And we had several that had Schedule 1 charges. Schedule 1. You're used to seeing Schedule 2 to Schedule 6, but when you roll in with a Schedule 1 in a small county where nobody has money, we know you don't belong here. because most people here can't afford a Schedule 1 drug. But it was, I think they arrested 7 or 8. Most of them were from Michigan. And 3 of them sexually assaulted women. And another couple indecently exposed themselves to others. And I mean, it was just a laundry list of charges. And so everybody that was like, oh, it was just a good time, they were just having fun. I was there and I didn't see anything. And I said, listen, just because you went 30 foot into the main stage and didn't see anything doesn't mean that you know what was going on that 150 acres. You saw the bare minimum. You don't know what's going on. And then I went on Reddit and I found the group that came here that rented the venue. They have a Reddit profile where they all have each other on Messenger, but they leave notifications on Reddit. So they left notifications going, checkpoint here, message so-and-so for road deviation so you don't get caught. So they were working on Reddit to make sure that they told each other where roadblocks were so they could funnel their dope in and they all wouldn't get caught. And then the morning they left, they were doing the same thing. We've heard there are checkpoints here, message so-and-so and so-and-so, and double check your way out if you've got anything you don't want to get caught with. And I posted all that to Facebook, and Facebook told me, because I just shared, and I said, these people coordinated how to bring this crap into our community. We need to be aware of this. And Facebook was like, your post violates community guidelines. I made people aware of a drug funneling operation, and Mark Zuckerberg thought I violated community guidelines. Mark Zuckerberg can kiss my honey. Pick 40 acres, Mark. I've got several. Pucker up. So I was just so irritated with that. So I'm trying to fuss with them to get it put back up. But regardless, I sent all that stuff into my contacts in law enforcement. But finally, people were like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, oh my God. Maybe next time when I tell you these things, you won't go, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. But then there was one little girl, and I felt so sorry for her. And she was like, I know more about drugs than you because my entire family's addicts. And I'm in college to be a parole officer, and I'm going to be a much better officer than you ever were because I know more about it. And I said, are you sure that you've read all of the legal requirements to be an officer? Because you will have to literally write a list of everyone you've known that's ever been convicted of a felony, everyone that's ever gone to prison, and all of your family members that have ever had issues. And if there's too many, they will refuse to hire you. They will not allow you to work. You will be compromised. You will be a liability. You may want to look into a different line of work. And I felt bad telling her that, but there's no way she's going to get hired. And I thought, bless her heart, you know. But some people you just have to be blatantly honest with and just tell them what they don't want to hear sometimes. But yeah, now all the community is like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah. So I'm accepting apologies to anyone that called me like a Karen or an over, you know, an over anxious zealot. I'm accepting apologies because I was right, dead on. Maybe next time you will listen to people that are trained in this career and that have worked with this demographic. But I'm going to try to go to the next county commission meeting when these owners of this land come up here, and I'm going to try to ask them about creating a more restrictive policy as to who they allow to come in and rent this venue, because we certainly do not need, I mean, if they had done 5 minutes of investigative online sleuthing about the people that held those concerts, they would have seen that all it was a drug caravan from one place to the next. I mean, it would have taken them literally about 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, Don B. Yeah, I like Don B. I watch him sometimes. I've left him a couple comments on some of his channels. Yeah, he's a really good internet sleuth too. He's really good at it. I enjoy him. He's very sweet. But I was really frustrated in my community that they would not stand up. They were more concerned with getting a couple of bucks in here, but what was that money going to cost us? What if, and they're like, oh, they're only party drugs. They're only using them recreationally. Said every addict that's now struggling and overdosing and can't get clean now, ever. How do you think they start? They started these stupid rave parties. They started, it just takes that one first time. And a lot of these, these new sound wave rave venues are made to the music enhances the party drugs that they bring, and a lot of the drugs they also bring in are date rape, and so that they can rape and assault victims. And ketamine was one of them. It renders you basically a zombie. You're useless. It's an out of body experience, and you're in a hallucinatory state, and you can't really fight anyone off. You're kind of in another land. And people can do what they want. But then I was reading back like 2 or 3 months ago, they had a concert somewhere, and someone got so obliterated that he climbed the scaffolding of the stage and fell, broke both his legs and his back. And he was so high, he did not know he broke both his legs and his back. And he was like combative with the ambulance crew that was trying to pick him up. And it's like, and you people let these people come in our property. You invited them and took their money and said, oh, it'll be okay. We'll put them in this really quiet, conservative community, it's family oriented, and it'll be fine. So I have a mouthful to tell these people when they come back to the commission meeting, because I'm not impressed. And I'm like 3.5 miles away as the crow flies from the actual farm where they had it, and I heard the music all night. So I can only imagine what the people that lived super close had to go through. And like I say, I'm nice. I'm nice to everybody. But when there's a time not to be nice, and I can cut it off, and I can be the Wicked Witch of the West in 5 seconds, and I don't have no problem being that person. So, yeah, we have no hospitals. We have no resources. It's stupid that they put this here. Anyone that gets hurt is going to have a chopper flight out, and that's $60,000 at least. We have 5 or 6 ambulances. They did buy us a couple more ambulances because we have no hospital. The nearest hospital is an hour and a half in either direction down the mountain. But most people, if you get a bad injury, they're not the trauma centers that can handle it, so they have to fly you out. So I thought, just not smart. It's not smart to place this here and to bring these people in who do these horrible things, and it's just like, it's just so strange. They were on the radio being like, what was it? They're saying like the rescue squad and the EMT, have a large supply of Narcan just in case things go wrong this weekend. If you live close to the venue or you see someone struggling, please call 911 because getting Narcan into the system immediately will save a life. And I'm sitting there going, why are we hearing things on our radio that we've never heard before? Because rich people bought property and rented out to filth. So I have some questions, and they're not going to appreciate me at the next county commission meeting. But by golly, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be loud because we are not set up for this. We don't have the resources for this. We literally have like 2 to 3 deputies at night. That's all we have. We just don't have the infrastructure. And if it weren't for 2 other counties coming in and volunteering and the THP coming in and volunteering, we would not have had the means to have even caught what they caught. So it was an event. And people were like, you just don't want people to have fun. No, I don't want people to have fun to the point where they obliterate their mind, they kill brain cells, and they potentially harm themselves or others because they're not in the right mind. No, I don't want people to have that kind of fun. Guilty. And people get really mad at me because I don't respond the way that they want me to respond. I'm like, I'm guilty of that. I have no problem being guilty of that. So, And then somebody was like, I've done extensive research for recreational purposes and nothing you said sounds familiar. And I was like, listen, just because you like to go and have a little bit of fun and you can read a magazine about Pot Growers Anonymous, I said, doesn't mean that you trump my masters and my decade of working with this demographic. I said, both adult and juveniles that have addiction issues and being trained by the state of Tennessee and the Tennessee Bureau of Oscar, are you okay? He made a funny noise. And being trained by the TBI. So I'm sorry. Your recreational research does not hold a shadow to my master's in psychology and my, application of my education in my career working with that demographic, thousands of people. And I thought, you idiot. And then I copied and sent that on into the Popo. And I'm like, well, there's somebody y'all need to be keeping an eye on. So it's just, I'm frustrated because we do have such a good community here. And we do need money to come in and we do need options. But you have to be careful what you allow in. And you have to be careful. And I know that people are getting hard to pay their land taxes because we're having a lot of people move in that are bringing their retirement incomes. They're raising the median income and it's raising the property taxes and people can't pay them. And so people are being forced to sell farmland and to split up their generational farms, their generational family farms. And it's horrible. It's horrible. And I know some of it can't be helped. But at the same time, research who you're going to sell your land to. Research if they're part of a corporation. Research what they've done with land that they've bought for the last 6 to 8 months. Look, it just takes a couple weeks to just do a deep dive and see what these people are actually up to. We've got to be more aware. We've got to be more aware. But it's been quiet. It's been quiet tonight. I know I went to the dollar store this morning. I actually took myself out on my own. It was just a few miles to the dollar store, but I was so proud of myself. I took myself to the dollar store. I needed bleach and a couple other things to clean the house. And one of the people that was there, he was in an old broke down Winnebago, and he had backed it into the dollar store and he was leaving. And you could tell he was leaving the event. Bless his heart. He looked filthy. He looked like he'd been rode hard, put up wet, and it was bad. And he came in and he rounded the corner and he went to the mouthwash aisle. And I was at the other end of the aisle, actually looking at toothbrushes. And he was looking at all the mouthwash. And what he was doing was looking at the alcohol content on the mouthwashes because I assume he was probably out of alcohol and was trying to find something to drink to keep his shakes down until he could get home or get back to where he had money to buy actual alcohol because we're a dry county. And I just kind of, side glanced and then went back to looking at my toothbrush I was reading about. And I went down the aisle and he came back around and he ran smack into my cart. And I seen him coming, so I just braced and pushed against him. And he was about that big. And he bammed into that cart and I just pushed back when he did. And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am." I said, "You don't have to apologize to me." I said, "I'm the mountain that can't be moved." I said, "Did I hurt you?" "Oh, no. I said, "Well, be careful." I said, "These big old brawny women around here hurt you." And he backed off real quick and went the other way. And the lady that was behind the counter at the register started laughing. So, but I don't think he appreciated it. I think he knew that I knew what he was doing. He didn't appreciate that. And that was his way of telling me he didn't appreciate that. And I don't care. I knew what he was doing. It's sad. It's sad to see somebody in addiction that bad that they will have to resort, because they're in a dry county and they've ran out of all the liquor they brought with them to party. They will have to resort to drinking mouthwash with high alcohol content until they can get out of the dry county and get more liquor. It's sad. It's sad. And I do have a compassionate heart, but I also have a very critical eye. And I will hold them accountable. If they want to try to change and they start to change, that's when the compassion in me will come out. But he was just not a nice person. But he ran into the wrong person for sure this morning. But I actually did take myself out this morning, so it was It's the first time I've driven myself anywhere in, oh my gosh. And it was practice run because I've got to go see Mom and Granny. So I really enjoyed just having a few moments of freedom. So if I make it through this weekend and the 127 sale and I do well, I'm excited to see if my health holds and I can get through the next couple of weeks with the same level of health. I'm really excited about that. So I'm terribly excited about that. Oh, and I cut up another one of my Queen shirts. This is a breakthrough shirt from 2014. And I'm getting to where I'm just cutting all of my t-shirts. May do a t-shirt cutting video here in the next little bit. I found out the most flattering ways to cut t-shirts for fat girls. So if anybody wants help with that, I will do a t-shirt cutting thing. Also, here in the next few nights or maybe next week, we're going to have Jonah, Jordan's brother, come on and do some music for us and just talk a little bit and tell us about what got him into music, what piqued his interest, and why he chose to play the instruments that he plays, and kind of what each instrument fulfills within him. I've never met two so talented brothers in my life. I swear they're just amazingly talented. So I wanted to showcase Jonah as well. You all have seen some of him in some of my other videos where he does spend quite a bit of time. He visits and helps me. He's even helped mow my yard and stuff. But I just want to start to share my little group of people with you and my area. And also, Gypsy and I have found out that we're closer than we think we are, geographically located. And so we are going to try to do a meet and greet at Forbes General Store, and we're going to try to get that done hopefully before her school starts. And so if we can get that worked out, then what I'm going to do is meet her and take her on a lunch date at Forbes General Store. So, and maybe even send her home with some fudge. They make the best fudge. So there's lots coming up. And as the season cools down and as the baby's here, there's going to be different content, more content. And I need to try to get out once a week if my health is holding and do a little bit more exercise, even though I probably will have to take the stupid rolly cart or the cane. I need to be up and doing a little bit more to see if I can build some of the muscle back, because my right side is holding, but my left side is atrophying really, really bad, to the point where my left arm is now so much smaller than my right arm that it looks really strange in photographs and stuff. So I have to stand certain ways because my arms just don't look the same size. It's just weird. So the atrophy in the left side is continuing to worsen, which is normal. We expected that and anticipated that with the RSD. But I would like to try to get out, and I know I can't stop it, but slow it down. That would be great. So that's where I am. This is my big hunka drink that I've been working on for the last hour. I'm going to try to get it finished. If I can get it drank by tomorrow morning, then I'll fill it up again and do it all over again. I drink a lot of water. But I'm doing a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that the doctors thought would not help. I'm doing a lot of that, and it is helping. And my doctors are amazed at how my body is doing right now, and that the fight that it's having is fighting the things that need to be fought, and it's winning. And yeah, tomorrow I may completely have a breakdown and end up in the hospital, but I'm just very thankful that my body is trying to heal things that have needed to be healed for 4 or 5 years now, and it's just not had the momentum, and I'm glad that it's had the momentum to heal these things. I can definitely tell that I feel better. I still, the walking and the limited steps every day and the coordination is still not going to improve. But if I feel better, then I can do more and battle that longer, so that I can still have a more meaningful existence. So if I have the energy to just combat the tremors and the wobbles and the shakiness and the legs that like to kind of give out early, if I just have enough energy to combat that and still try to do more and have a little bit more quality to my life, then I'm okay with that. That's all I can ask for. So I'm super happy with the road that I'm on and super excited about the next few months, especially with the baby. And so at this moment, the name is still Ellie. And I got her maternity photo shoot dress in the mail today. It came in today. And so we're going to be doing the photo shoot very soon. And of course, when I do the photo shoot, I will be turning that into a video to share with you all, because I think I have the most beautiful daughter-in-law in the world. And I know that these photos are going to be absolutely gorgeous, and I just cannot wait to share them with you. And I know that once the baby is born, we're going to be pretty private about the baby once she's born. But I will, if mom and dad allow, I will give sneak peeks along the way. But we're going to be pretty private about our little one, and that's just for safety reasons, just because of my old job and stuff. So I'm sure you all understand. But we will try to sneak a peek every once in a while for you. So, well, I'm going to get off here and go clean taxidermy. And then I'm going to thread this needle, because when I start sewing, I will start videoing so that you all can watch the process. And then I hope by tomorrow evening I have a bag to show you all that is completed. This will be my first one, other than my fox bag that I made, but I made it a different way. It was all hand leather laced. It was weird. So this will be my first kind of like messenger bag sewing. So I'm interested to seeing how it works out. And if I don't like the way it works out, then I will go buy more of the thicker leather and go back to leather lacing the bags. So we'll just see which way works out best. So that's it for tonight. I'm going to make peace with this self-threading sewing machine that doesn't self-thread. Possibly write a very strong word or letter to Kenmore. I had an old singer, and I never had this problem, but this Kenmore is driving me nutty. But I'll get this threaded and I'll get it figured out. And as I sew, I will make sure to do a video so that I can show you all the process. And hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, you will have a finished bag, and y'all will know what it turned out looking like. It's going to be a rustic bag. It's not going to be like Saks Fifth Avenue or anything. So don't get your hopes up. But I'm excited to make it because I just think a possum bag's cute. And I think any woman that is brave enough to carry a possum bag deserves a freaking prize in this world. So I'm excited to make it. And I may do some beaded dangles and maybe a couple of feathers hanging off of it as well. Maybe on the zipper pull. If I decide to put a zipper, I may put a zipper in it. If not, then I'll do some off of the strap. But this is going to be an exciting week. I've been so busy today, and I still have more to do. David is super excited. This is his last night at work, so he's off. No, wait, he's got to work tomorrow, and then he's off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And but tomorrow we put the tents up, and he does have a prime spot. So if you happen to be coming through the 127 corridor sale, and you come through the Jamestown area, you want to meet David, you can message me at Hillbilly First. You can message David at DNL Trapping, or you can comment on any of our videos, and we will give you the GPS coordinates to take you right to him, and you can say howdy to my big burly grizzly Adam's husband. And my son will be there as well, carving. So I'm going to try to get a lot of video for everybody. I know y'all enjoy that. And Lane has been working his butt off. So I'm definitely going to brag on my son. So that's it for tonight, y'all. I'm done. I've had my vegetable soup and all my water today, and I've had a good day, and I've played with Oscar. Oodipo, come show him how much you healed. Come here. Come here, old man. Come here. Come here. Oh, it's a big baby. So look at me. I healed up so good. So look at me. Oh, I love him. Oh, I love him. Look at my little pugaboo. He healed. He's not sore anymore. And he's starting to flake off. So I have to scratch him and clean him and get the dandruff off and give him baths. But he healed so good. He healed so good. Bless his little heart. If something happened to this little dog, I would have just freaked out because he's my bubby. You're my baby, aren't you, my baby? You're my baby. Oh, I love you too. I love you too. Oh, thank you. So Oscar's doing really, really well. He's back to playing, wanting his treats. Treat. Oh, treat. He wants his treats and he wants to play, and he's back to his normal nap schedule. So crisis averted. Whatever bit him didn't kill him. So knock on wood, he is a tough little nut. So we're very happy that he's doing well. What do you want? Tell me what you want. What do you want? Push the button. Push it. Push it. Oh, did it not make a noise? The battery's dead. Well, I will have to put batteries in your treat button. There you go. So Oscar made it through his big event. So all is well in the Waters world. And I've been on here for an hour and a half. I'm going to shut up. Tomorrow, if I help David put up the tent, I will take a little bit of a video of the place where he's setting up. And there's already people starting to set up and sell. So I'll try to give you all a preview. And then I will try to show you exactly how crowded it gets this weekend. Prepare yourself, because I'm here to tell you, this like 600-mile yard sale is a pain in the butt. It's bumper to bumper, and it's just people everywhere. Y'all are not, if you've never seen this, you're not going to believe what I'm going to show you this weekend. It's going to be an eye-opener. All right. I'm off to clean taxidermy. Love yins, and I'll see yins tomorrow. Bye, guys.